My good friend Ken Schultz and I, Cam Olson, rode 6,125 kilometers across Canada from June 2nd to July 31st, 2013. Our ride started in Vancouver, crossed the Rocky Mountains and the Prairies, dipped down into the US, coming back into Canada, and continuing through Ontario, Quebec, and the Maritimes. Leg one of our adventure, the mountains, began at the Pacific Ocean in Horseshoe Bay, BC on June 2nd. We rode 1,105 kilometers over 9 days and arrived in Calgary, our home, on June 10th.
After 9 long riding days through the mountains, where we climbed 31,000 feet, or the equivalent of more than 6 miles straight up, the 10th day, June 11th, would be our first very welcome rest day. It was awesome that this was at our homes, with our families, and in our own beds, which greatly contributed to a quick recovery.
Over the 59 days of our trip, we would ride for 52 days and take 7 rest days, which we enjoyed in Calgary, Moose Jaw, Lake Leda, Minnesota, Marquette, Michigan, Sudbury, Ottawa, and our final rest day was in Quebec City. We used the rest days to relax, recover, and to ensure that we were able to slow down and take joy in our journey. However, they were also important to have our bikes maintained. Over the course of our adventure, for example, Cam went through 3 rear tires, 8 tubes, 3 chains, 2 sets of pedals, 2 cranks, and 3 broken spokes.
All too quickly, our rest day in Calgary came to an end. Early on Wednesday, June the 12th, Cam set out for Ken's house, which was 27 kilometers to the east.
Leg 2 of our adventure would take us through the Prairies from June 12th to June 23rd, with nights in Bassano, Medicine Hat, Hyapot, Swift Current, Moose Jaw, Regina, Grenfell, Moosomin, Brandon, Portage la Prairie, and ending in Morris, Manitoba after 1,466 kilometers. Well, back on the road again. Yeah, great rest day at Calgary, but time to get going. Gotta get to Ken's by 9:15. Well, here we are at the Schultz residence for the grand send-off. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Cam.
So any departing words?
Why did I say yes?
Miss Joanne Lavallee, she's the emergency logistics coordinator.
Yay! They Googled themselves.
Whoa! We have a tailwind! Alright, see you guys. Let's ride, Ken. So here we go. We're officially on the road. We were excited to hit the road, but it wasn't too long before Ken sensed something dragging on him.
So we're starting the next leg of our journey, 50 days away from home, so I have to admit it's kind of emotional to think I'm going to be away from my family for that long, so I guess sort of mixed emotions today. Excited about what lies ahead, but a little anxious and concerned about everybody back home.
We are approaching halfway the second day to Bassano. Certainly the scenery isn't what we've become accustomed to, but it's been nice riding. We got a side wind today.
Through the mountains, Cam had developed numbness and lost the use of the pinky and ring fingers on both hands. He had learned that cyclist palsy is common among long-distance cyclists. Fortunately, he also learned that the impacted nerves would recover within a few months of completing our trip.
And so here we are back on the Trans-Canada. Now we got 44 kilometers to go. Should be a couple hours of riding, we should be there.
Perhaps it was our melancholic mood that led us to pull out the headphones and turn on our music for the first time on our adventure. This discovery around the 120 kilometer mark of the day was trip changing, and we both found that the final miles to Bassano breezed by.
Just what the doctor ordered after 130 Ks on the road.
On June 13th, we realized that we were suffering from what we came to call a rest day hangover, which is a malaise that hit us after rest days as we struggled to get out of bed and get going. It was really difficult riding on this rainy day. However, things turned around about an hour in when Ken read a message from his sister-in-law, Donna. Those simple but special words arrived at exactly the right time and were like rocket fuel for us, lifting our spirits and strengthening our legs. It wasn't long before a strong tailwind began to blow us towards Medicine Hat. This time Ken didn't scare Odikawa off the road. Hello! How are you today? That's our friend. He's about 70, it looks like. These guys are good examples for us. If we can be doing this when we're 70, we'll be doing good. Well, we just had a long ride from our first lunch. We'd come about 65 kilometers without a break. Time for our second lunch. It's wet, it's been raining most of the way since lunch, and time for a good break. Well, we're heading out and we love to see a tailwind at our back. That flag is blowing to the east and it's going to blow us all the way to Maple Creek, Saskatchewan. Well, so far this is pretty beautiful riding. Cruising along at almost 40 kilometers an hour. Day 13 started out right, and when it was over it turned out to be one of our favorite days of the whole trip. Ken, is this heaven?
No, it's Irvine, Alberta.
Cam had been emailing with his uncle Vern Olson, who was driving to Calgary from Swift Current, Saskatchewan, to be there for Father's Day. We had hoped to meet him in Irvine for a coffee, but it didn't look like we would get there on time. However, with the winds at our back, we covered the 32 kilometers in under an hour. I remember riding by here many times as a kid. Well, we're driving by Irvine and look who popped by. Uncle Vern, how are you?
Driving the street.
Nice to see you. Should we go in and see if we can find a place for coffee? It was awesome to share a piece of our adventure with Uncle Vern, who generously offered that we could stay in his place in Swift Current the next day. The Ladies' Society of Irvine treated us to coffee for Father's Day, and we enjoyed cookies and a good chat in the Irvine General Store before getting back on the road. Well, the sun's come out. We had a nice visit with Vern in Irvine, and the wind is still blowing. with this tailwind, we're not going that much slower than the train.
A trip like this, especially through the prairies, makes for some very long days on the road, and we began to find ways to cope. Ken has learned that his secret weapon is music, and Cam often sees him drumming and singing at the top of his lungs as we fly down the highway. Cam has taken to talking to cows.
Hello, cows! How are you today? What are you doing? Goodbye! We just finished an excellent lunch at the 1 and 21 Cafe at the intersection of Highway 21 near Maple Creek. And we've decided to continue on to Piapot, Saskatchewan, 24 kilometers that way instead of staying in Maple Creek, which is about 8 kilometers that way. We're going to Piapot. So we've got these helmet mirrors, and this is what you see from the helmet mirror. They work pretty good. We're in Piapot, Saskatchewan, looking for the Piapot Saloon and guest houses. We've spotted it. It's going to be an interesting night. Rough Riders game tonight.
Burger's great, atmosphere is even better.
The Piapot Guest House and Saloon turned out to be an unexpected surprise. We enjoyed the evening in the saloon watching the Rough Riders, but seemed to be the only ones interested in the football game, as small town life was going on around us. Tony and Joe negotiated the breeding rights for a hog. Tony then agreed to get some drill pipe to Roy to use for a Texas gate. Bernie had moved from Abbotsford to marry Joe. Jessica visited her mother Bernie in Piapot and liked it, so she moved from BC and took a job at the saloon just last month. Roy's neighbor recently passed away, and Roy dug his grave with a shovel. Next time, he's going to use a backhoe. We had wondered along the way about the dying life of small-town Canada. However, this evening seemed to be proof that there is still a lot of small-town life and death going on, at least in Piapot, Saskatchewan.
Quiet morning on the Trans-Canada today. It's Saturday. Traffic is extremely light. We've got another beautiful, amazing wind behind us, cruising at 36, and I'm not even pedaling. This is amazing. It's going to be another good day. Should be 3 to 3.5 hours to Swift Current. I did have a spoke break, so we're going to have to contact our emergency coordinator, and she's going to find us a bike shop in Swift Current to fix my spoke. This is a tailwind of epic proportions. How's it going, Cam?
As we were greeting a herd of goats, Ken noticed that one had gotten his head stuck in the barbed wire. Ken did his best to free him to no avail, but fortunately the farmer drove up with the proper equipment for the job.
Slow start to day 15. Happy Father's Day. Happy birthday, Ken.
Thank you.
How's your birthday going so far?
Train.
We're gonna have a nice Humpy's breakfast and I think it's gonna clear up. It's Ken's birthday, so his present is riding our longest day ever. Happy birthday, Ken. Herbert, Saskatchewan, the first town that I've seen where they still have the old grain elevators. Thanks everyone for the Happy Father's Day card today and for the Father's Day text. Here we are in search of lunch in the tiny hamlet of Chaplin, Saskatchewan. We were going to stay in Cairnport. This is where Briarcrest Bible College is. We've decided to head an extra 19 kilometers and do the rest day in Moose Jaw. Currently at 172 kilometers. I think we got another 10. How do you feel, Ken? Okay. You have 152 so far? Well, good birthday. It's been actually not a bad day. I'll see you in Moose Jaw. Did you have a good stay at the Temple Gardens for your birthday, Ken?
Very much so. I want to come back.
After a great rest day in Moose Jaw where we explored the tunnels and saw a movie, we started the day thinking that this short, flat day was going to be an easy ride. By the end of the day, we were reminded again that there were no easy days, with heat and wind conspiring against us.
Around Lancaster, all-time passing, we had 46,710 total passing yards. That's the distance from here to Mosaic Stadium in Regina. Now this is flat. Very nice. It's a beautiful night in Regina, Saskatchewan. We've got our snacks and our food for tomorrow, and we're looking for a place to eat. This is Ken setting up our daily road ahead picture. Every morning we have to decide where we're going to do the road ahead. Well, day 18 has started with what we like to call a nice cooling breeze. Others might call it a headwind. Golfing. A little worried my gimpy and numb fingers might impact my golf game, but Ken lived in Yorkton from grade 4 to grade 12, so he considers it his hometown. It's a little bit grateful that he can't take a trip through the Arctic on this adventure. Maybe another time. Today, to combat the headwind, or the cooling breeze, we're drafting. So we're taking 5-kilometer stretches where one of us goes in front and the other follows behind the wind block. Here's a demonstration of the value of drafting. I'm out front right now, and I'm riding at a cadence of 90, 87, 88, 89, 90, going 23 kilometers an hour against this wind. I'll show you what happens when I'm in the back. So now I'm behind Ken on the draft. So going 22, 23. But you see, I can keep that pace in a lower gear with a much lower cadence. So it gives you a lot of rest to draft, especially when you're heading into a headwind. Bonjour! Welcome to Canada. These are our friends from Burgundy, France. They've been on the road for 2 years, 26 months, and they've been to all of these countries. Wow, that's amazing. How have you enjoyed Canada? Well, it's nice to meet you. Good luck. We've cut up to our friends again after lunch. Threatened by our presence. Drive-in movie theater in Wolseley, Saskatchewan.
Later in the afternoon, we saw a rider in the distance and closed the gap quickly as we were drafting and he was fighting the wind alone. David Concan is from Toronto and is crossing Canada by himself, raising money for kids in poverty. We were happy to meet a new friend, and he was happy to join in drafting with us.
We realized that this day was about new friends when we met Kyle from Vancouver Island near Grenfell. His riding partner had bailed on him after 5 days, missing his dog back home, but Kyle continued on alone with no technology, earning spending money with his guitar outside grocery stores. During dinner, we were approached by another couple, Neil and Shirley Thiessen, who had taught with Cam's Uncle Larry in Hayward, Saskatchewan years ago, and had seen on Facebook that we were coming through. They saw our bikes outside, wondered if it was us, and came in to say hi.
And I will try to fix you.
All right, Ken. June 20th, start of day 19. How does it look?
Looks like a hurricane out there.
Less into that wind blowing and those trees blowing.
I think the rain is let up.
Is drafting going to help today? I don't know. We're a little scared in our Grenfell motel room, but let's get out there and find out. We've just passed the 2,000 kilometer mark, which is the 1/3 point of our trip. Wow. made it to Broadview and we ran into our good buddies, Kyle and David. They didn't have as good a sleep as we did. They were sleeping in tents through the wind and rain, but they're up and at her now. Ready to go, guys? Well, Dave is. Kyle's taking the bus. Wheel issues.
After lunch, David joined us for the ride from Whitewood to Moosomin, where Ken and Cam would be staying with Cam's Aunt Kay and Uncle Myron, and his cousin, Kathy, husband Raoul, and their family.
Well, David, it's been a pleasure riding with you. Good luck on the rest of your trip.
You too.
All right, thank you. And it's been nice drafting in a pack of 3. It saves a lot of energy.
A lot faster. So.
All right, good luck, and perhaps we'll meet again. Well, Auntie Kay was waiting for us at the entrance to Moosomin and is guiding us to the house. Woohoo! Finally! Can you say hi? My name is Dominic. And what are we going to go in later?
A hot tub.
Hot tub! Yes, please! Dominic is our welcoming party, right?
And then if you like a nice steak, the keg, no not keg, it's the beef in a barrel. It's
Well, day 20 has started and we've got ourselves a tailwind. Cruising along at 35 kilometers an hour. We had an awesome time with the Jermos and Hubblistids in Moosomin. We've got 140 kilometers to Brandon today.
And so we bid goodbye to Saskatchewan, who gave us some of our best riding days and some of our most difficult conditions. And now we say, Bienvenue à Manitoba!
Bienvenue.
Bienvenue.
Welcome to Manitoba.
How about welcome?
As we rode into Manitoba, we were unaware that overflowing rivers had created unprecedented flooding in Calgary. Ken's family had to evacuate their home, but thankfully they suffered no flood damage and were able to return home in a few days.
On Kay and Myron's recommendation, we've walked 2 kilometers to the Beef and Barrel restaurant.
Hi, my name's Paul. And this is Linda.
I'm Linda.
And we went out for something to eat in Brandon, and we heard these guys talking about riding a bicycle and listened to the cashier mock them, or at least say, "You're what?" And then you remember.
Yeah, and so I interfered and asked if I could have a card, and found out that they're doing it for El Jardin and Santa Cruz, and we actually know Karina and Marco, and so it's a really small world. It's been a privilege to meet these
You get
two.
to see this, Karina and Marco. Greetings from us. Saludos.
Yes, from Paul and Linda Stoddy in Brandon.
Well, we're heading into Brandon, Manitoba to get Cam's wheel fixed. Well, we got a late start at about 10:45 today, but we got Cam's rear wheel changed and a new spoke put in. And Ken did a tire rotation, but Ken now has his first flat tire on the front. Wow, so it's now Cam 5 flats, Ken 1. That there is the scourge of our existence, the livestock hauling truck. They smell far worse when you're on a bike than when you're driving by in a car. Shoulders are totally gravel, so we have to ride on the road. Here's a short break at intersections, but it's been a tough day. Ken said about half an hour ago, this is gut check time. I agree, it's been a hard day. Wind in our face now. It's been hot and humid. So we're setting out again today. It is June 23rd, day 22. We're heading to Morris, Manitoba. And there's a strong wind out of the south. And it's going to be a long day. We're coming to the end of riding the Trans-Canada on this half. And we're going to be heading south on Highway 13. And then we'll rejoin the Trans-Canada after the US in Sault Ste. Marie. Hold it! Got a piece of rubber stuck in my fender.
We've been riding the Trans-Canada since day one, but we're looking forward to riding quieter highways below Lake Superior through North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan.
We love the trees because they put up a nice windscreen. Let's see as we go around these trees if you can hear. Here it's nice and calm. As soon as you come around the trees, you get the big blast of wind. Something wicked this way comes. Weather seems to be reaching us. Foul wind and the rain starting to fall. So rain gear up.
The weather turned and we stopped to get into our rain gear. However, we were too late and were drenched by a sudden downpour. Getting back on the road, flashing lights helped drivers to see us, but it was treacherous riding with no shoulder. We had scary incidents with a Chrysler 300 who laid on the horn just as he drove past, and then a tractor-trailer driver who seemed to think he needed to teach us a lesson by dangerously passing about a foot to our left in the driving wind and rain.
About 10 minutes before we turned to head east again, there was a violent wind and rain, and we slowed right down to about 10 kilometers an hour. But all of a sudden the wind turned from the south to the west. And so we have a beautiful wind behind us now. Gonna blow us all the way to Morris, about 55 kilometers. We're rolling at 30 plus. What a gift.
As we approached Morris, we were surprised to realize that we had both enjoyed riding through the Canadian prairies as much as we had enjoyed the mountains. Somehow, the long, lonely days on the road amplified the unique beauty of the prairies and created a closeness and connection that you just can't experience in a car.
Walking back from dinner, and it looks like it's clearing up. Tomorrow to be sunny. 26 degrees in Morris and Grand Forks. So we're hoping for a nice day tomorrow. We got a big ride, 149 kilometers.